If we just scoot round and just for the cameras, just shout out your name for attendance, and we'll get that crossed off.
Good.
Carol Comas-Aboomway.
Chris Whitman.
John Botel.
Lisa Long.
Lori Clark.
Cushman Phillips.
Brian Avery.
And Bridget Whitman is just coming in. We know she's just outside the door, so she will also be in attendance. First item really then on the agenda is the minutes of the last meeting, which I think everybody has in front of them. I've already read these, and to the best of my notes and recollection, they looked correct. If anybody has any corrections, I guess now would be the time to do that.
The only thing I wanted to change about these is, and I didn't see it until I looked at them tonight, even though I looked at them the other day, was when we're talking about, under the treasurer's report, where it says the one-time charge of the $300 for the road commissioner, and it says looking into it, Elise was supposed to look into that. If we could just put her name in front of that.
Sure.
So that we, and John, could you follow up with her, because she's not here tonight, about that?
So, the one-time charge, yep, so that should have
It was
been-
Elise that said she'd look into it.
That's right, because there was some question on.
Yeah, why we got charged that.
Yep, I will follow up with her. I'll drop her a line. Make a note here as well. So, with the exception of that small amendment to the treasurer report, I would ask for a motion that we approve these minutes with the small amendment.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes as amended.
I'll second that.
Perfect. Just writing note for myself. Okay, perfect. Item number 3 would be.
We have to vote.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I beg your pardon.
Okay.
Can we have a vote on that? All those in favour? There we go. Motion passed. Okay. Item number 3 will be the treasurer's report.
The only activity that I'm aware of is the only money that has been spent since our last meeting that I know of is Lisa purchased the baseball equipment. And she is right around almost to the dollar so far of what we allowed her to spend. I do have a $25 gift card that came back to the rec that I was told to use towards something for the kids. And I just wanted to run that by the committee if we want to give it to Lisa to purchase baseball stuff or what we want to do with that $25 gift card.
Suggestions that I have no problem with it going towards.
Use it for anything that can be used for, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be-
Because she does still need another case of balls. She was short. It looks like we're going to have
And
two.
it was my fault. I put in the amount of balls, and then he gave me the quote, and I didn't pick up on us being a case short, so.
So it's almost to the dollar.
Oh, it is?
What it would be.
It's like
Oh.
20-something dollars for a case of
Oh,
balls. so
perfect. Then I would
Everybody's okay with that?
say it's a great
I'll give it
idea.
to you then, Lisa.
Okay.
And I just wanted to check in with you guys. Have you spent any other money?
For what?
Anything out of the rec account since the last meeting? No. Okay.
What was the situation with the budget? Did that all go in on time? And
It went in on time, and we have heard nothing back about
is
it.
that positive or negative?
I think that the selectmen are not to the point where they're reviewing them all yet.
All right. Okay. Fair
How
enough.
long does the
I don't believe all the
selectmen
departments
to
have submitted
review?
theirs.
All right. Okay.
Do they have a certain time to review?
Yeah, I don't have it with me, but there's a budget timeline that the finance committee has. I'm sorry, there's so many dates on that timeline. I can post it in the group if you guys would like.
Yeah.
I've got it in email in my finance committee email.
Just because I'd be interested
Yeah.
to keep an eye on it.
There is a Saturday meeting in March
16th.
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 And what happens at that meeting is, my understanding is every department comes to that meeting, and every department is allotted 15 minutes to present their budget to the selectmen and the warrant and finance committee, just the overall presentation of the budget. And then after that, the warrant and finance committee will meet with each department as needed to ask questions if they have questions that go beyond that 15 minutes.
And that was 16th of March, you said?
Yeah, and it's on a Saturday in the morning, and I don't know the exact time.
10:30. We go on at 10:30.
Okay. Chris said that he got notification that the rec is at 10:30 on that day.
All right, perfect. That's great. Thank you, Carol. Fourth item I got down there is something for the summer, and I've got it down as a summer fete.
What's that?
Call it a fair.
Oh, fair, okay,
It's well, I'd call it a fair, you'd call it a fair. It's the same
okay.
thing. I'm just thinking it would be a good thing for the kids at some point over the summer holidays, just so we can have a big day where we can use that field and let them have a lot of things going on there. And it'll be good for the, the out-of-towners, the tourists as well, that are going to be inundating the town at that time.
So Lisa and I actually just talked about this the other day, because we were talking about, for her son's birthday party every year, they get this giant inflatable water slide thing, and
Exactly
if our
what I got
water's
down.
in,
Done right there.
if our water's put in, we could put that, have one of those, and that's like a huge hit, and we could really do a lot, and,
Well, I think now's the time we've got to start thinking about it and planning it.
Yeah.
I suppose right now, all I'd be wanting to say is everybody have a think about what we could put in there. I've got a few ideas here, but more importantly, when do we think is going to be the best timing for it? I mean, we can't do it around 4th of July, obviously, because people are going to be moving around, but middle of July? Or?
Yeah, it's usually nice and warm, so any
Yeah.
kind of water thing we
Yeah, I think
did,
that's
it'd be
a good
warm
idea.
enough for it, I think, and
Yeah, what do I-
it's usually pretty
and we probably want.
busy around
We're
town
not
with
available the
tourists and
second
stuff.
weekend of July, so I wouldn't want to do it then, for sure. The weekend after the 4th, isn't it?
Yes.
So if we looked
the
at
best weekend for me would be the third weekend in July.
so the 20th,
Yes.
that looks good to me. If we could try to tentatively set like a plan for the 20th of July.
So we're gonna be looking at getting some water. We've talked about that, but.
So if our special warrant article passes, then we'll just make sure our water is in and working by like the 1st of July, which not by the 1st of July, but we'll have to get right on it July 1st, which is when the
As long as we
new
don't
fiscal
lose-
year starts.
Yeah, It shouldn't be that, it shouldn't be a problem.
It shouldn't be a
as long as we
huge
don't-
deal.
I think those things recycle water as well, right? They like have the splash bit at the bottom that basically pumps up from the bottom up back up
No.
to the top. It doesn't, it runs off the mains,
It's-
does it?
Yeah, like a hose,
All right.
Yeah.
at least all the ones we've ever rented.
else too, like, we can look into, because it is a big field, instead of just the water slide and other things going on, should we reach out to vendors?
Oh, yeah.
Have up pop-up tents and stuff
Yeah,
like
I think
that?
so.
absolutely.
And,
mean,
Awesome
got-
fundraiser.
We could do it as a
could set-
fundraiser too for the rec.
Tables
Yeah.
for 30.
I've got
Sell the
a,
tables like they do at Applefest.
Yep.
yeah, I think for things like crafts and stuff, it's a natural. I've just got a few things that I straight off the top of my head, literally 5 minutes before we walked out the door. The slip and slide inflatable thing, I had that down. A bounce house as well. Coconut shy thing.
I don't know what that is, can you say it? Coconut shy? As opposed to
Coconuts.
outgoing coconuts.
You have coconuts. Coconuts on stands,
Okay.
and you try to
I'll be there.
knock them off with like baseballs.
Oh, okay.
We must
Okay.
have something similar here.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the milk bottles
Yeah,
at
and
the
you'd
fair.
win the coconut if you win.
Oh, okay.
If you knock it down, you win the coconut. So it's a crap prize, but it's kids like it a lot.
There's a break.
Hook a duck. You know that one where you hook
Yes.
inflatable ducks and they have prizes on the bottom. Dunk tank, I think, would be a good one. People would like
yeah.
a dunk tank.
There is a dunk tank somewhere around.
No, really?
Yeah, it's on.
There's one at the fair that the fire department or somebody.
Yeah.
I don't, have they used that lately?
Somebody, I've
Is
seen the
at the
dunk
fair.
tank. Yeah. I don't know, we'll just
Particularly
find
if we
out.
can
There
enlist-
is a dunk tank around town somewhere.
Well, if we couldn't do a dunk tank, something like a wet stocks, kind of. And
Yeah.
if you get the teachers from the elementary school involved,
Yeah,
the kids will pay virtually anything to throw things at them.
yes.
So
Are you going to sit in the dunk tank?
I don't mind. I'll sit in there. Yeah, I don't care.
Especially if it's hot.
We could throw a pie at the face too.
Yeah. You could do.
They did something.
Yeah, at the school.
At the school, a pie in the face for the
yeah,
teacher
right,
fundraiser
that's right,
once.
yeah.
Is this, something too, like, that we need a flyer to go out before the end of
Yep.
the school year?
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I had tug of war we could do and create
A
you know,
mud pit or
like a
something.
league teams for it. craft stalls. If we could get a flatbed in there with some power, we could actually have bands playing,
Yes.
which would be, another good thing. What
I'm sure
else?
B-side would play.
Yeah. Hoopla stands,
Donate, like.
throwing the
for
ball in the bucket thing,
B-side would
knocking down the
lead
cans.
to it, I
a
think.
fundraiser and.
Have the grill out if
Yeah,
we,
like
we
donate,
pass
we could
the,
charge money
the
to
finance,
raise
the
money
warrant
for
finance, that we can have the
raisers.
grill bought, and then we
Yeah.
can actually just be selling burgers and stuff directly off the grill.
Yeah,
Season,
absolutely.
But I'll make a list of all this stuff, and then we can
Expand on it and
expand on it and see.
divvy it up and see who
we
wants
can
to
get
get
in.
prices.
Okay. All right, perfect. That's all.
Can I add one more thing for summer? I feel like we should, just because the ice rink and everybody's loving that every Saturday, offer something like a movie night, something every Saturday that I know, or a Sunday or something that's always something going instead of just, I just wanted to put
What,
that
through the
out there.
summer?
Through the summer, like something that's always going. I mean, there's 4 to 5 weeks in the summer. There's a lot of us on the rec.
Where would we do a movie
At the
night?
field, meaning.
So
Oh, the
in
projector?
Waterboro, their Parks and Rec does an outdoor movie night, and I'll reach out to one of my Waterboro friends because I think that I don't know what they use for a screen or what they exactly use to do it all.
So
you know?
I know the place that we have rented water slides and bounce houses from the past. They have water slides, bounce houses, dunk tanks. They have this inflatable movie screen that comes with the movie screen, the projector, and movies, I believe. Like it's like one bulk price, but
We
how
did
much are
do,
you gonna pay out to, you know what I mean?
Well, we did do one, I don't know if you want to put that on loan, John, movie projector every Saturday. John does have one, and we did it for my Harper's birthday party. But if, the guys could rig up like some kind of screen, that'll save us money.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's not something we're going to be able to.
You can actually
recoup anything
tie like burlap or something to the backdrop of the softball, baseball
Yeah.
field.
Just
and
a
then,
big painter's tarp.
And
you
then
can
that's
paint it.
exactly where the, and you
Yeah, that would
could
work.
zip tie that. And I don't know if you'd want to, if we raise enough money, just put it on loan for this summer, and
I
then
just don't mind. It's kids.
Cade's West Cade. And then, I don't know, something to look into. Just figure keeping something going.
Yeah.
As long as we've got power there, that we can run just out of the snack shack and just like power up the projector and whatever device we're going
Yeah.
through, then yeah, that would work.
Okay.
Just tell people to bring the lawn chairs, and that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, it
Okay.
would.
All right.
I have a question.
So what
on
we're
it.
thinking, like every.
Oh, go ahead, finish it.
No, I was just thinking every Saturday, every.
I think every Saturday there should always be something that we're giving out. It's really cold now, but families love that, and there's not much to do. We had a big turnout with bowling today. Everything that we offer, people are just, they're loving it with their kids, especially. So I think maybe every Saturday. There's so many of us as a rec committee. We can all, if there's 4 to.
It doesn't have to be a movie every Saturday,
it could be
we can
something.
come up with with ideas.
One of us can all just sign up one Saturday.
Yeah, we'll
We
figure
have a lot of Sundays we won't be around. What's your?
Okay.
We can do a
So
square
it's a
dance.
movie.
Yeah, we could do a square dance.
How do we, so we don't really have a lot of money, we don't have it in the budget to get vendors will come to sell items.
Yep.
And, so we charge them to come for a spot like you would like the campground did, that kind of
Yep.
thing?
Yep.
And then would it be like donations that we ask people for?
I think so.
For a
Well-
fundraiser, or?
We plan on doing
have a
a lot
gate
of
fee, so to
fundraising, and that's one of the
Right.
things that we plan on asking the selectmen when they do the warrant to, include us in the article that we're allowed to raise money and spend the money, that we raise on programming or whatever. So that the town meeting can vote on it and authorize us to fundraise and spend the money for programming for, our community.
I gotta get permission to fundraise.
You do. You have to, yeah. I
And if
think
we
so.
got
Is
that,
that correct? That you,
How it works now is the town votes to appropriate a total dollar amount. Some of it is through the money that the rec raises through programs, and the rest is through tax dollars. So they raise, say, $13,000 through taxes, and they appropriate $17,000 which includes the money that you guys anticipate you're gonna raise.
But that doesn't
I would like
include
to see
anything
that.
above and
I
beyond.
would like to see that changed. Because I think just what you guys are talking about, I mean, if you go to work, which you could very easily do, rent $1,000 or $2,000 throughout the year. The way it sits right now, the only amount you can spend is what the town's appropriated for this department to spend. So any monies above and beyond that, you can't spend that money.
It just goes into the account and sits.
Right. It'll sit,
Like-
and it'll, then it'll carry over at the end of the year into your capital improvement account.
So how do we do anything above and beyond?
That is why we have to ask them to write that to include us in the article that allows us to raise
money and
raise
use it.
money and use it for programming.
Well, we
And
kinda
that way
do.
they can vote on that at town meeting.
So if you need $15,000, say, from the town to operate your program, to me, that should be all you need.
Right.
As far as the rest of it, what you do with your fundraisers, which in a sense, charging for programs is like a fundraiser. If you guys raise another $15,000, then to me, you guys ought to better spend the other $15,000.
To go above and beyond.
Well, we don't have any extra money to buy like, or rent anything at this point.
So our full intention is to fundraise to put this on.
Well, like, I guess back to my original question, maybe I've said it wrong, or maybe I'm just confused, so is it okay for us to, if we put all this together, so how do we get the money, well, how do we ask for the money? Do we have a gate fee of $5 to come to the fair? Do we say donations? Do we,
Sell a
I guess
table,
my
that's what
question
we're
is how we
So
spend
I
it.
think-
How do we ask, how do we turn it into a donation?
Yep, so I think
So we
that the
actually get
plan
something.
is.
Am I
the-
making sense, or?
You are.
Yeah, I
You are.
understand.
The plan is to sell craft tables in advance. Apple Fest, they're $50
Entry
a
fees,
pop,
so-
for a craft vendor.
That
That's what I
much?
paid.
Really?
I mean, I think that's steep, and I think that it should be less, but
I would say
I think you get
$35.
much
35?
That's a lot more than it
35?
used to be.
Yeah, I paid $50 for my table at Apple
Yeah, it
Fest.
used to be 25.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say we could
So
talk
then-
with them, but you know that.
Then as
Okay.
far as like, you're meaning like every person, every kid that comes in, are we
Yeah,
asking them for a
is it-
donation?
yeah,
Are we
do you
charging a
is it-
fee?
is donations accepted kind of thing, or are we just gonna rely
I-
on
I think-
vendors? Because if we only get.
Shouldn't be a
if you
fee
only
to get in.
Right.
10 vendors, you're.
I
not
think
gonna
that what
be able
our
to raise a whole lot of
intention
money.
is, what my intention is, and I think that Bridget is of the same mind, is we have the intention to put on a bunch of fundraisers to raise some money that in turn would pay for the water slide, would pay for some of this
So
stuff.
we wouldn't be-
And then also, the fair could almost be like a fundraiser at the end of the day, between the tables and the money people spend on food,
saying, yeah.
and, stuff like that.
Gotta think of too, we have softball, baseball, and a lot of kids playing this year. So with that, we could do bake sales or things to do that, and that'll help us towards,
The only
summer.
problem is right now, the way it stands,
Oh,
anything
that's
that we
right.
raise,
Has
Yeah.
to go to
we
what
can't
we
use
already
it right
have.
now.
But we'll know more by
For
the 16th of
fundraiser
March,
for-
right?
No,
Right.
Town
What
meeting.
So
we
we'll-
already said to
in
them,
April.
I mean, we
All right.
put a pretty
Oh, no, it's
hefty
not
amount that we're trying to fundraise already into,
Our budget.
for
Our
next
budget.
year, yeah.
yeah, so anything we're gonna get at that point, it's gonna
But I
be,
just want the committee to be cautious, because I don't want you to do all this work,
yeah.
and for somebody to say, okay, you did all this work, you raised this money, but you can't spend it.
Spend it.
Right, right, that's, I think that we should ask,
I don't want to put you guys in that position.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Can't spend it
we should
until-
try to get that answer before we kinda
Yep.
go forward with a bunch of,
So we'll know
Well, I
that
think
at the
Chris
budget
just whispered
time.
in my ear that we really won't really know anything until the town meeting in May,
April or May, June,
in
June.
June.
Right,
Meetings
so,
in June.
sorry.
But
But we will know,
yeah,
we,
Because once the warrant articles are written, then it's basically set.
right, yeah.
So you have to straighten this out to make sure the warrant article is written so that, March 16th, they're presenting the warrant articles to the warrant finance committee.
Yep.
it'll be too late.
So we have to get
Well,
it situated before that.
You ought to be putting pressure
We need
on
to ask the
beforehand
selectmen.
to get get this straightened out, is all I'm saying. I just don't want you guys to get caught.
Right.
And the person we need to be asking is the selectmen to change
We need to ask the selectmen to put it in the warrant to allow us to fundraise and spend that money, whatever amount that is that we fundraise,
2019,
to be able to spend that money.
is that correct?
And if, I mean, honestly,
Pretty sick
yes.
So
It's
should we have
already
Chris
in our
ask that?
budget, so.
There is some fundraising money in our
yes.
budget.
So that is, this is above
In
and
addition,
beyond
it
that,
is above and beyond
correct?
that, yes.
Okay.
Now, the other thing too, is some towns with something on a large enough scale, this is a larger scale than a regular thing. And you might know, you need permits to run stuff like this? Does this town?
You probably need, I check in code enforcement,
Yep.
they tell you whether you needed like the fair, like when they have stuff down to the fairgrounds, you know, they have the Volkswagen thing every
Yeah.
year.
The mass
Maybe
gathering.
only a certain
They
amount of
have to get
people.
a mass gathering permit.
There's a number, and I don't know what the number is, of people attending.
Yeah,
If
because-
you anticipate over X number, I think it's not much, then you have to get a mass gathering.
And that would depend on how many parking spots there are at the rec.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's more, the reason why you get that permit is so that the town and the fire
Emergency
department,
services.
emergency services are aware that there's something going on there that day. And lots of times when you have to get a mass gathering permit, the fire department will post somebody there at that gathering, you know, whether, you'll see them sometimes have the ambulance parked somewhere, but, because they get notified that there's this mass gathering. It's more for emergency
That,
services.
and someone should also check for, in some towns also, when you selling product, you also need a permit because people actually selling product at that, even though it's a craft fair,
So,
sometimes. you-
so with this, like the, Acton in Motion is the one that does the Apple Fest.
Yeah.
And they're not required to do that for that.
Exempt from that?
I don't- so
How
I-
any different is
They
it?
have to.
I would imagine it's the
people have to
individual
have a
sellers that would
binder.
require a license if they needed it, not
That's
not
right.
the person
Yeah.
selling space.
Yeah, you're just renting
should be able to
space.
find
So
that stuff
they
out
have to
easy
make
enough.
sure that, like, if you rent space at the fair, you have to prove to the fairgrounds that you have X amount of, like,
And insurance
$1 million
binder.
liability
Yeah.
insurance. So that's
Yeah,
something we need
it
to
was a
look
$5,000 or
into.
$10,000.
I
insurance
think
policy.
that
Fairgrounds is a private.
as a private
Right, but
entity.
I
That's a whole different thing, but, I mean, it's stuff that needs to be looked into
Yep,
before we go
we can
into-
check. I'll check with Terry Minahan, because she's the one that plans
That
the
should
Apple
be
Fest.
easy enough to
Okay.
find out.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, that gives us something to look forward to and plan.
Still do that,
the summer.
still do a fair without, if we can't get the money for, say, a water slide, you can still do the fair with a lot of stuff that
yeah.
isn't gonna necessarily cost any money.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, that gives us something to work towards for the summer.
Pretty good idea, actually.
Moving on to number 5 on the agenda. All this was very quickly for me to say, let's have a think about the bylaws again. The link that I've put down there, I know it's a hell of a link, but if you can think about it and look at it, it is in a Google document that's just a standard non-for-profit bylaw between now and the next meeting. Have a look at it, see if there's anything in there we can use or would want to use, or maybe just use the whole thing, I don't know. And just come back with ideas at the next meeting. At least that gets that moving one step forward. Okay. Number 6 on the agenda, keys.
So, the storage area in the gym.
Yep.
When I was the basketball liaison, I was given a key to the gym so that I could get in there and to our storage area and do what I needed to do, drop stuff off, pick stuff up, whatever. Now we have that extra lock. I can't get into our storage area, and I have totes and bags of basketball stuff.
Stuff in my truck too.
And I know that Lisa's been in there labeling and organizing her baseball stuff. I just think that if you're the liaison, at the minimum, the liaison should be able to access that storage
Sure, and this
closet
is the one
at their
inside
own
the
will.
gym. Which one do we have the key for, the front door?
I left Lisa the keys.
Well,
The one that gets you in the door here.
she had to get into the thing with a credit card. No, it's not, it shouldn't be us having to come chase you guys for keys every time we need to get in there. No offense to you guys, but it shouldn't be like that.
The easiest way to do it would be you
there's
guys
two
have
keys.
a set of keys always, and then have another set that,
Liaison
like
to
I
that
have for
sport.
baseball, and then at the end of baseball season, I give it back, you take it and give it to, you know what I mean?
Right.
I think that would
Yeah,
be the
more than
easiest
one
way to
set
do
for
it.
Sure.
Yeah.
We have some stuff.
I just think whoever's the current liaison for the current sport
Yeah.
should have a set of keys to that storage, because it's really inconvenient.
Yeah,
And so what do
that
we
was
need to get
confusing because they're new.
a
I'm
new
sorry.
set cut then? Is that just what we need to do?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just need,
I
I
can just
just
run down to
wanted to
Springville
request that
Hardware.
that
Just
happen.
say no copying.
Yeah.
Cool. Can I get a motion to get that passed then? Anybody want to put a motion to get a
second
new
that
set of
motion.
keys to the storage cupboard?
I'll motion it.
And
Second.
Second, okay,
Brian Harden
vote
seconded.
in, all those in favour? That's carried. So who's going to actually action?
I'll do it because we have an account at Springville Hardware.
Okay,
Maybe we can get one of those little curly key bracelet rings,
Get a keychain.
something, or lanyard,
something to make it hard to.
instead of just two loose keys. That's usually what you get, is two loose keys.
Anything.
And then you
big
have
and
heart
bulky,
failure
so
that you're gonna lose the darn
it.
thing.
If there's any real concern, just like she mentioned, you can buy the keys that say don't copy or whatever, right, Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Buy
the-
those if there's a concern with some, I mean, I don't
Right.
think
I think
anyone's
it's
gonna
probably
copy them when
supposed
they
to be
take something they
non-copy
shouldn't, but
right.
they won't copy them anywhere else if.
And then my other thing is the locks on the storage shed up at the rec field.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that a key to that should be on that ring.
Yep.
okay.
Oh, you had a key. They give you a key.
And what about the
I
coaches?
don't know what I have
Oh, the
keys to.
coaches
Oh,
got
the
have a-
gate.
bags.
Storage shed and gate.
Well, we're
Storage-
not allowed to lock the gate.
Well, just in the winter we haven't because the
Oh,
plow.
we're not supposed to lock it ever.
Oh, it's always been locked before.
I know, the selectmen said
They said it
Absolutely
at one
not.
of our meetings that it never should be.
no
locked.
town park type thing or town property should be locked. It should be open to the public to use anytime.
Let me
Oh,
make
that's
note of
interesting. That
Lock.
was contrary to what they told me with the ice rink.
Really?
100% the opposite.
Oh, I was at,
I
I must
guess
have missed the inter-office memo on that.
then I suppose that moving forward, to have some clarification, maybe John, you could contact them and just tell them, we need to know, we've been told two separate things, we
Yep.
need to know
yeah,
absolutely.
because I was,
what are we
Does
doing.
that
at
mean
one of
both
their
gates?
selectmen's meetings, they said it should never be
They
locked.
said it at one of our meetings too.
Does that mean both gates?
Yeah,
Does that mean both gates?
I don't know what that means. And I would say just the main gate.
The rec could give the key to the road commissioner,
Yep,
so we can unlock that gate.
absolutely.
And they said, there's
That
no
gate
reason
should
for
be
that,
open.
because they just don't want it locked. They want that open to the public 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I figured it should be.
Yeah. And in the summer, the basketball court,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
field, whatever, is the same as
All
that.
right.
Be a gate.
All
I'll,
it takes is one person.
I agree.
Yeah, but
The
still,
initial
let's
rec,
still get a yes or
initially,
no.
when they
Yeah,
put that
yeah.
rec field in, they put the gates there to prevent vandalism, because, is why they did it.
Okay.
To try to protect,
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And they will again, I'm sure. I mean, I
Unless we
don't
get
know
it
how you.
paved.
That's right.
Pretty much.
Okay, moving on to Article 7, Facebook page.
so the rec department, oh boy, the recreation department page, not the committee page, but the rec department page. I think that the rec committee should all be able to post on that page.
No, we couldn't, actually.
No, when you try to post, like, if I try to post basketball pictures there,
Oh, yeah?
you try to post it and it says your post has been submitted for approval.
Oh, right, okay.
So during basketball, I always just post it on What's Up in Acton
Sure.
instead, but then that's underutilizing the rec department page.
Sure.
yeah.
So what do you want to do, get it opened up to just all rec committee members?
I think so. Either make them all moderators or admins or whatever you do. I understand not having it be a fully public page, but I think that the rec committee should be able to post little things there.
I think,
Who's admin on that, Bridget? Is it you?
yeah, I'm admin, but what about messages too? Like all rec committees should answer
not
those
gonna ask you.
questions? Or just Chris
Well, I think that
on messages
I
and
think
stuff like
that
that?
messages should be answered by, the liaison dealing with that sport or.
Chris.
Or Chris. And just, we can all be responsible enough to just not answer those messages if we don't know the answer to it. And when we do answer it, if it pops up as everything on that page says Acton Rec and it doesn't say like one of our specific names.
No, it shouldn't do. If
It
you're
wouldn't?
one of the
Okay.
moderators
If-
for the page, it should
But if it
post as
did, we would
Acton
just
Rec.
sign,
Sure.
you know, the
Yeah.
post with our name, so it would be clear who
Who posted what?
responded,
Yeah.
you know. But yeah,
You
absolutely.
can always
I
see in the
think
back office anyway who
just-
posted.
whoever, you know, whoever is the
Are
one
there
in
l-
charge of that question should answer that question.
Are there levels, though, on, because I'm moderator of a Facebook group, and
Yeah,
I
there's
felt like
admin,
I.
editor,
yeah,
moderator.
Yeah, because I felt like the one that I'm one of the admins of, I can't see the messenger. I can just see the page. I think there might be some different levels.
Sure, we can look into what's.
Yeah, because
Because being such a big committee, I think we'll run into some problems where, because there's sometimes that I run being the admin, being like, I have to call Chris or I have to text Chris, what's the answer to this? If I don't know that, maybe I'll call before, there was a big committee, I would call Jen. So you don't want to run into a problem where think we know the answer and then, there'd be a big, well, that was wrong,
Right.
So that's what I mean.
I think if it's a baseball question,
Yeah.
as the liaison, I can answer it. If it's a specific sports
Sport.
question, then that liaison can answer it. Anything else should be Chris.
Yeah. No, I would agree.
yeah, I agree.
Okay, cool.
Oh,
So, Bridget,
I'll work on
Can
that.
you have a look at that? Yeah.
I'm not
You
too
add- you
familiar.
added yourself.
Well, I can-
Dave Lau outed me, and it was really confusing trying to add John. So I can figure that out, but if I need help, I'll have to ask
Sure,
somebody.
just shout, we'll have a look.
I definitely can't figure that out.
Page. Oh, admins.
Great.
Okay.
Okay, Article 8, Recreation Centre.
So this is the time, because we're approaching town meeting, okay? And there's been discussion about us taking over the ambulance building, the old ambulance building that's not being used. There's been, and this is separate from this committee, there have been many people in town that have approached me and some other rec members about the fact that the town pays to heat it, you put electric in it, and keep that building going all year long, and it's not utilized for anything other than storage and parking.
Sure.
So now is the time for this committee, if we want to request that be turned into a rec center, the process would be for this committee to formally request that of the Board of Selectmen now, so that if they say no, then we have time to do a petition to get it put on June's town meeting for the people to decide.
Okay,
So this committee needs to decide if we, as a committee, want to request the Board of Selectmen to turn that into a recreation center for the community, and then give them the opportunity to say yes or no. And either they will say yes, no, or they'll keep putting it off. But there is a deadline that you have to submit a petition to get something on the warrant for a town meeting.
for the town meeting, okay.
How does something like that get paid for?
It's already paid for.
How do we turn it into something? It's not gonna, we can't,
We would
it's not
have
gonna hang
to,
balloons and call it a rec center. It's gonna have to be renovated and things, right?
Well,
Where
so
does
the
the money
first
come
thing,
from?
the first thing would be just to clean it out and see what we're working with. I know there's a kitchen there, I know there's a bathroom there, I know there's a meeting room there, and I know there's a big empty space there. So at the very least, we could start utilizing it
Use it for meetings and
for
such to
meetings.
start with?
We
Is
could,
that what-
storage, we could get all our storage over there, and we could start offering, like Lisa's Skills and Drills could be in the open part, garage part of it, and stuff like that. We would, just the way it is, it would be a stepping stone to future, right?
Yeah, sure.
You know?
The ambulance?
So when the Ambulance Association was a private entity, not part of the town, they fundraised and built that building for the ambulance before it was before the ambulance was part of the fire department. Then when the fire department and the ambulance combined after a lengthy couple-year thing into one town department, the town took over the ambulance. It was no longer private. The ambulance moved out of that building and into the public safety building, because
Is it still part of the fire department or not?
Is the ambulance?
Building
No,
itself.
it's separate.
No, that's a town building. The
Separate
town owns that building. The town pays the electric bill in that building every
Yeah.
month,
What-
and the
what-
town pays to heat it all
What do we
winter.
know about what it's
The
being
town doesn't
used
pay
for
the
by the fire
bills?
department at the
Yep,
moment?
so, I believe that we were I personally wasn't in the building.
I
Lisa,
don't
you were,
believe
Lisa,
that. I'm sorry.
you were in the building, and
When we got the ice
when you
rink,
got the
I
ice
was
rink, what did
outside, I
you
didn't
see?
So downstairs, I didn't see a lot. I think there was maybe a boat and some of the fire department's personal vehicles in there. That's really all I saw.
So it
There's an
sounds like it might
upstairs,
be
and
used as
who knows
storage
what's up
for the
there,
fire
but-
department. If they
Yeah.
have a boat, like a rescue boat or something, that they're keeping in there as storage.
I'm not sure.
There was some sort of a trailer in there, whether it was a boat or something smaller.
No.
I wasn't
It might
paying
be
that
an
much
out-
attention.
It might be the trailer that they use for like in the woods.
I just-
Easy enough to
get
find out,
it.
I guess.
Yeah.
The upside of it is fairly obvious.
Well, it's huge, because if not, if we lose on this, if the selectmen say no and we do a petition and the petition fails at town meeting, then the next step is gonna be, okay, now we need to start fundraising $200,000 to build and start like putting some money aside in the capital improvement every year at town meeting, so that in 5 years we can build a building. Because that is something that we want,
So-
as we expand and as we get things in order and move forward, there's rec centers in a lot of our surrounding similar-sized towns.
Now, with that building, if we did get approved to take it over, does the town still pay for the utilities, or does that get dropped on us after we get approved?
So it would be like the rec field, where the rec department, the light bill would come out of our budget.
So we just have to budget.
And the heat,
We'd have
and
to
the
add
heat.
more to
heat,
the
all of
budget,
those
and hopefully we get
utilities.
approved for it.
Maintenance and everything?
Just like the rec field, it would be
It would
an
also-
Just like the
extension of
fire
rec field,
station,
yeah.
just like the public safety building, the heat, the lights, the maintenance of the building, all comes out of their line item of the budget.
Now, since we already put in our bid for this coming year, would we have to wait another year if we got approved? Because. we're
No.
committed.
No.
Because we're talking about a whole different thing. We don't know if it costs, $5,000 a year to heat it. I mean, there's a lot more bills involved and so on once.
Yeah, well,
if they say yes.
I'm assuming, might be naive, but I would assume that it's already in the fire department's budget. Mm-hmm. And so it wouldn't be on an accountant to say, okay, well, it's come out of that budget, and now they own it, so it's just moved directly across. Essentially, it all comes out of the town.
Well, I guess the first thing,
Regardless.
like you said, we'd have to do is decide if we want to move forward with it.
Yeah.
And say, yeah, okay, then we talk about it, meet with them, they meet with us, they tell us the responsibilities, we say, oh, whoa, wait a minute, we can't, or we can, or we think we can, or something, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You gotta kind of start with.
We have to decide if it's something we
so-
want to pursue. And if it
Sounds
is,
like a
then we
great
need to
idea.
pursue it within the next couple of weeks.
Sounds like it would
Sounds
be
like
a
a
lot
good
cheaper
idea
than
to have a
building a
place to
building, that's for
be.
sure.
Okay.
Well, absolutely cheaper.
If it's feasible.
I strongly believe in what you guys are talking about. The senior citizens, for example, once a month, they have a luncheon and either people bring a potluck stuff or somebody put it on. In our comprehensive plan, we have how the town's supposed to, how we work in the future, is talked about in there about a recreation, community center. The possibilities in there, to me, is endless. You guys have talked about before having, a place for, teenagers to go and maybe have somebody on a Saturday afternoon or a Friday evening go there and down to monitor and open the place up. You could put some ping pong tables in there, pool tables, or, I don't know, whatever. There's so many possibilities for the community to do this. And it's a good building. It's a solid building. The upstairs, does not meet code for certain things, because it wasn't built really to be used in the upstairs, or anything other than some storage. Other than that, the building meets all codes. The engineer that did it
How would it be for,
You could access this building, because one thing that's gonna be a little contentious is the parking.
sure,
If you do a curb cut on the Sandwood Road, instead of going in where you go in now, you come off the Sandwood Road. You could expand the parking between the building and the Sandwood Road, because the town owns right to the Sandwood Road.
right,
Because Carol's grandmother owned that property, gave it to the town when they wanted to do the ambulance building.
okay,
And you could expand the parking between the building and 109 so that it wouldn't affect the fire station property that they're using
sure.
at all. And I think if you present this as really for the whole community, you're talking about your Friday night or Saturday night movies or something, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, that takes it from just being a summer
I think
thing.
It's a great asset. And the bottom line is, you can, and this isn't a criticism of Chris, okay? But Chris is always worried, we have to be very conservative. We don't want to spend $100 here or $200 there. The bottom line is, if you want something, you gotta pay for it. That's just how it is. But you guys have to do this as a group. You have to get your supporters out there, and if it happens, and make sure it goes. And for cost, I've had people tell me that the rec budget, there's no way it should be under $50,000.
Leave for money we are.
$50,000 is nothing if you're gonna, the rec department is gonna service the community the way a rec department should.
Well, it takes a huge amount of money to do anything above and beyond, and the rec department's been very small for a very long time.
Very, very long
And,
time.
I mean, just the upgrades we're trying to do with the baseball equipment will be something that hasn't been done in how many years? 25 years?
It's huge.
Least, yeah.
Yeah, a long
I
time.
think people will see a big
But you have to
difference with
ask,
that.
like you're saying, if you don't ask for these things, you're not gonna get them or even try to come close to getting them if you don't.
Right.
What-
But
what-
I would be afraid that too. I'd be like, oh my God, we're gonna ask these town people for all this money to do, but, I mean, it benefits a lot more than just the kids and things.
One thing that
Rolling
the
around.
ambulance used to do,
It's rolling
I'm not sure
around.
how often, almost every couple of weeks, every week, they did a bingo night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris and I have been talking about that.
I believe that stuff's over there.
It's a big commitment
It
though,
used
too,
to be
right?
It
right up
is.
there, yeah.
For everyone involved.
You have to
probably
really
upstairs.
believe in it, and you have to really want it, as a committee.
What's the septic capacity like?
It's got to be over 1,000 gallons.
You gotta check with Kenny Paul.
Right.
I can check with him on that if you want.
I wouldn't think that would be a
Pass it
super
on. I don't
problem
think
unless
the
you
septic
went
would be an issue at all.
Nope.
for once a week things and not even, or I don't, but.
Because it was built, 12 years ago?
It's fairly new, so it probably
12,
fell under the
13
new
years.
codes.
If it's even less than 20 years old, it's gonna have at least 1,000 gallon.
Yeah.
Right.
It has to have at least that.
And then just,
Source bigger than the one that's on this building.
just to back up a little bit, I don't know if everybody's aware that, he referred to the comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan is something that is voted on by the townspeople, and it's the direction that the people of the town want the town to go in,
Right.
for the future. And
Broad
that
strokes.
is the law
Yeah.
of this town. That comprehensive plan is really, that's something that the taxpayers have voted on, that this is the direction they want to see the town go in. I don't know if, I remember sitting through many town meetings while they're, adding this, striking this, all that stuff. And the fact that the comprehensive plan says that then if they saw in the future a rec center for this town means that the townspeople really do see that in the future of this town.
So what's the downside of us going for it?
The downside of this is,
If we-
there's a couple downsides. First of all, I don't want the fire department to feel that we're encroaching on them, because that's not our intent.
Sure.
We're just trying to offer more services to our community, and at the most cost-effective way, right? Versus building a whole new rec center or
Finding
an
land.
empty building that's sitting there.
Probably buying land to
Right,
do
'cause-
so,
And,
right?
yeah, and so I think that's one downside, is that my fear is that they're gonna feel that we're encroaching on them, you know, because that is their personal, not
Space.
personal, this is the fire department storage, is what they use it for, you know, but I just think, you know, in the best interest of our community, if it's possible to kind of reorganize over the fire department and let the, you know, whatever, work together, that we might be able to do it. So that's one downside. Another downside is the amount of work that this committee would have to put in to make it happen. You know, it's a lot of work, and it's, you know, it takes a lot of dedication. You have to really believe in it. And not everybody on the committee would have to do it, but, you know, one person isn't going to make this happen.
No.
It
Well,
would
it
have
does-
to, it would have to
Team.
be the better part of our committee working
It
towards
really, you know, it's a commitment. In anything that you decide to do, you know, every program that we decide to expand upon is a commitment. I mean, look at the ice rink.
Yeah.
What kind of a time commitment has that been this winter?
Yeah,
You know, it's
it's
huge. So that, you know, this committee has to decide that this is something that they want to do, something they stand behind. And if it's not, then that's fine, you know, but it's just, in looking to the future, you know, we've
Well,
had
I
many conversations around the campfire about a community center.
Well, I think maybe we should then try to take a vote in principle of whether it's something we want to progress and look in more detail over the next, well, week, 10 days, and try to get more information about
Okay.
what we're going to have to do, so.
So I guess it would be to make a motion, I make a motion that the rec committee pursue a recreation center.
Can we have a second?
I'll second it.
All right.
And all those in favor?
Yeah,
My question is, if we come together as a committee, and it sounds like if we're going to request anything to happen with that building, it really has to be within the next couple of weeks. If we decide that, what do we, say we decided it right now, do we have to do something in writing? Do we go to a selectmen's meeting? Do we ask to
So
meet with them?
I think the process would be that we would come up with a plan, right? We would come up with a plan for how we could make it work, like what he said about, you know, the parking, the coming in from Sanborn Road, the this, the that, and the other thing of how we could see that it would be feasible and it would work. We would need to come up with that within the next, like, 2 weeks. And we would request to be on the agenda at the selectmen's meeting. And we would present it at that meeting to the Board of Selectmen, and they will probably want to think about it for a week, and we'd go back the next week and get an answer. If they said yes, then we're like, hallelujah, you know? If they say no, then the rec committee needs to decide the next step, you know, whether we accept defeat and say, okay, or whether we say, you know what, I think the community would really stand behind us on this, do a petition, submit it in time for town meeting, and it would get voted on. That would be the process.
And we're saying from the get-go, without doing anything other than rerouting the cutting in so we're not affecting the fire department's traffic.
I
Yes.
would think that would be a must.
Yeah.
Where does
Yeah.
that money come from?
Because you
We would-
can't
we
have
would-
people pulling in
Oh,
when the
sure.
fire department and taking off to go to a.
So-
call.
Other than
He
doing
asked
that,
a
what else
question,
would we
he
need
asked
to
a
do?
question about where the money to do that would come from. I think that the town has a lot of people that would help, like volunteer to do some of this work. And the town owns a lot of unused gravel that's been sitting down the salt shed for a couple years, not touched, that we could probably utilize existing resources that are not being used for anything. It would take some creativity to make it happen, you know, in the next year. But I think that if we rallied enough, we have a really great community, I think that we might be surprised what we would come up with.
Quite a bit more help than maybe than anticipated.
Yeah,
So my concern is that our next rec committee meeting is in, what, 2 weeks?
Yep.
And we would want to have something in place to go to the selectmen in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
it's on a Monday,
Our next meeting?
Yeah.
so we could request to be on the selectmen's agenda the following day.
So,
And so if we could come up with
Well,
something
we have to come up with a plan between now and then.
Right,
then
and
get-
vote on it at the next
so
meeting.
have we, so that's what we're doing now, moving forward, is we're coming up with a plan to vote on whether or not we're going to go to the selectmen at our next meeting?
Well, I think we need to come up with a plan to give the selectmen.
Definitely have to
And if
do
everybody's
our
happy with the
research
plan,
as
we
well.
would vote on it on that Monday and be given to the selectmen on the Tuesday.
Yeah. Yes. So, yeah, what I would envision is that we email and back and forth and try to just kind of come up with a rough plan, bring it to our next rec committee meeting, and kind of hash it out and vote on the final, what we want to present to the selectmen, and be on the agenda for the next night to present it.
Okay.
This is, it's either something we have to do and do aggressively to meet the time frame, or we have to put it aside for another year.
And immediately, other than cutting in the road, we can use it for storage, we'd be able to use it for drill practice.
Our
Yeah.
meetings.
Our
I'm
meetings.
still confused. How is it just sitting there in, it's through the town and not through
They must use
the
it for
fire
something,
department? I
don't
mean,
they?
it's gotta be allotted
Fire
to
department.
They use it for
Right now.
storage and
So
stuff.
the town took it over and
Boats.
Expensive storage,
it's not.
maintained, to do nothing much with.
It's not being
They do
used
stuff in
by
their
any
Not for us, I
particular
mean-
Plus
department.
CPR classes.
They do CPR classes in there, and if it was a recreation center, they still could,
Sure, yeah.
obviously.
But it's
That's something
definitely
serving the
being used
community.
from The fire department is what
Um,
you're saying. They're not paying the electric and all that.
Right.
Yeah, they,
Yeah.
Thing on it.
Is the fire department paying?
I don't know the
electric?
answer to that. I don't want to
Well,
misspeak.
if they're not, if it's
If they're not,
running
then the
through
town is.
Yeah, if they're not doing it,
Somebody's
then
But if
paying
they
for it.
are, then how do we take it away from them, I guess is my
That's
question.
what you can if they're paying that.
They don't own it, the town of Acton owns it. It's not like it's their personal property.
Well, right, but I mean,
And the
not
peop-
petition to
And
take
all
over
that-
the fire department for a rec department, so.
It's the ambulance building, though, that's not being utilized by, there is no ambulance association anymore. That was the ambulance association's building. They fundraised and built that building.
Right.
And then they moved out of it when they merged with the town.
So I guess
I
we're,
think they sold that building to the town for dollars.
The ambulance association.
I could find the answer to that.
The ambulance association had a lease on the property for so many years, and that was like $1 or something. It was just a formality.
yeah.
But that building is not being used for other storage and parking personal vehicles in.
Right, okay, let's move on to the next point. We'll try to put something together, just bring what we can to the next meeting, and in the next meeting, we'll try to just bring it all together into a cohesive plan that we can give to the selectmen. Okay. Item 9, I think probably you may have covered this already, Karen?
Yeah, that was just, I know Bridget has, done some thoughts about fundraising. I know Lisa's thought about some fundraising, and I kind of would like to get it a little bit more like, this is what we're gonna do, this is when we're gonna do it, type of thing,
Well,
so,
I think probably we want to make sure that any fundraising we do, we're going to be able to spend as well first, right?
yes.
So I think that's down. Did I say I was going to do that? Yeah, I'm going to reach out to the selectmen.
Okay.
Or somebody else. Who was doing that?
I thought Chris was, but I don't know, reaching out to selectmen about fundraising, or is that?
I thought you were gonna call.
Yeah, no, it's me. I'll get hold of the
I was
selectmen.
dealing
about
with the key issue.
Yeah, no, I'll do that. Okay, Article 10, clarification on ages of rec sports. Laurie asked me to put this on the agenda.
Yes, is there any actual age limit? Like, I had someone approach me and asked me if someone that would be going into pre-K next year can play sports in this spring.
The history has been, correct me if I'm wrong, that they have to be currently in pre-K to participate, not going into pre-K. They have to be currently in pre-K to participate in soccer or baseball. And basketball is kindergarten. It's pre-K is not eligible. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay.
That's easy enough then.
Okay. Well, everybody's clear. That's nice and easy. Article 11, baseball clinic updates. Again, Laurie asked for.
So we have almost all of our equipment, but we have enough to start our clinics. We can't use the gym this week because of February vacation. So first clinic, I don't have my binder with me tonight. I have the wrong car. But the first clinic will be the first week back from February vacation. And they'll be twice a week.
And people are gonna just sign up ahead of time?
Nope,
or
they're just
they
gonna show up. They're just
Do you know
gonna
what
show up.
days it's gonna be?
I don't have my binder with me, so I can't tell you which days it is, but,
Is it gonna be set days every week?
nope.
How do people find out about it?
So there's gonna be a flyer that goes home with kids, it'll be
Okay, we
posted
talked
at the
about this.
school,
Yeah,
and it'll
okay.
be on Facebook.
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
And at the clinics, that's what those registration
Yeah.
forms were that she had printed out. So I'll go to the clinics with Lisa and just have a table to try to get signups
Great.
filled out
Sounds
and,
good.
you know, like,
Did
Actually,
we find
I have a question.
out through the clinic if the people have to sign anything while they're going to the clinic? Like, they have to sign the forms for basketball and stuff and.
Release forms.
Release forms, release form for a clinic.
so I think that at that table, as people come in, I'll have the parent or guardian fill it out their first time there. And then Lisa will just keep a book of them. And then at the end of the clinic well, you'll hang on to them for baseball because it'll cover baseball too. And then at the end of the season, they'll get turned into Chris like always.
But do we have to have
Oh.
their insurance information, all that?
The health form that
Filled out?
filled out, yep.
Oh, did we say that he was squalling? Our clinics, is it free?
Yeah, they're free.
Okay.
Are you gonna, it was mentioned to me last night, are you gonna do a day that you're gonna sit up here and do
Yep.
signups? Okay.
Yep, it's Thursday. I think.
I can give
let
it
me-
to you.
let
I
me
sent it
look.
to John in
Make
Messenger.
sure I get it right.
Maybe.
Why am I struggling so?
Okay.
28th.
Thursday, February 28th, from 5 to 7. And that night, all the meeting spaces are taken, so she's literally going to be in the hall.
Hallway with a
at-
table.
With a table, taking registrations, answering questions.
Once, yeah, that'd be a great time.
And she has,
That's a great time. to
That's what I
have.
was thinking.
Yeah.
They're open and
and
people should be coming in and out.
And we asked John to request Jennifer put it on the cable, on the sign down here at the corner, and on the town's website.
And we'll put it on the Facebook page too.
Yep.
Yep. No, I asked Jen to do all
Maybe
that.
put something in the post
Turnout,
office.
The more people
Oh,
know,
yeah.
the more people will.
Yeah, post
Yeah.
office is a good one.
Yeah, posted at the post office.
Or the trading post too. Even maybe the Milton Mills post office too. 'Cause
So I'm
I get
sure
down
that they'll get that out on the street sign within the next few days.
All right, perfect. Date of next meeting, I think I've got down 4th of March. Does that sound right? That's the
Sure.
Yep, and the
First Monday of March, yeah? And that will be at 7 PM.
March 4th, you said?
Yeah.
7 p.m.
All right, perfect. So ask if there's just any other business.
I have just two things real quick. One, the Acton Rec Committee, the Facebook page we're using.
Yep.
Still seems though we have persons or at least one person that's left on that needs to be removed.
All right, well, if you're
Talked
going
about
into
that a
that
couple
Jill's
weeks
still
ago.
on it.
Who's in it?
Jolene.
On what?
Rec
Rec
committee.
committee
Rec
page.
committee.
Oh, I'm not on it anymore.
Oh, is it? It's just me?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, that's right.
I'm not on
Who
it.
takes care of that page, is it?
Wait, she can show me how to take him off.
Well, I'm admin on it, so I can.
Oh, you're the
I can-
admin on it.
There's a few
We
different
talked about it a
admins.
couple weeks ago, last meeting.
Oh, we did? Right, apologize
Not
for
on the
that.
committee
Joe can
anymore,
also
so
remove
Jen
herself. I could tell her that too.
Jen has
Said
brought
that
it
no
up,
one
but
should be on it.
I happened to notice that today.
Okay.
That's the only reason I'm mentioning it.
Yeah, no problem. I'll get her removed from that, no problem.
And the other question, real quick, we were talking about the building at the fire station.
Mhm.
I left the room real quick. Did you get your question answered about, I think your question was, and correct me if I'm wrong, if the fire department can show just cause to continue to use that, it would be more difficult for us to convince someone
Yeah.
that we can use it better.
Yeah.
Is that what you were trying to say earlier? Did you get that answered all right? I mean, that's what we kind of have to do, because
Well, I think that's true. We would have to put forward a better case for having
Sure.
that building than they would.
but if we just start the process, that's what we've talked about.
I
and
think that's
we
all we can do
Right.
right now, is just present the best case we can, and
They may
they'll,
say, hey, look, we got that thing full of hot air balloons and we're not giving it up for nothing. So then the town has to decide on what's the best use for it.
yeah,
Correct?
that's it.
Then we're
Yeah.
going right into the town. side, yeah, the
Okay,
town.
that was all. That was it. Thank you.
All right, well, I would make a motion that we can end this meeting and get out of here tomorrow.
7:10.
Oh, that's not bad. Good job. So shall we kind of get a second to adjourn?
Yep, second.
Perfect. Let's get out of here. Perfect.